All right. Hello. This is Keisha Assembled and the Vlog and Prosper. We are involved in Deep Space Nine episode today. It's a television episode from around about 97, 98, and it's called Trials and Tribble-ations, and it's a little of the, what do you call it? It's like a time travel episode with a mashup, actually, of two of the Star Trek worlds, like the original series meeting the Deep Space Nine crew. The Deep Space Nine crew need to appear on the the second Enterprise with Kirk as the captain, and they have to avoid to prevent a certain Klingon from reconnecting with his former self and bombing the heck out of the situation in order that something else doesn't happen in the future. It's a little bit like Doctor Who, but it's a little bit like, something with a lot of Easter eggs in it. Let's just say that. Let's call them Easter eggs because, well, the whole stinking thing is an Easter egg. Okay, the whole thing is an Easter egg.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah. Trials and Tribulations. Lee, what's your opening thoughts on Trials and Tribulations?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I am not a fan of Deep Space Nine,
Hmm.
and I'm not a fan of Voyager either.
Hmm.
Um, my Star Trek has to be Enterprise. Has to have Enterprise in it. That's Star Trek to me. It's the USS Enterprise. Um, so I'm. It took me a while to get into the next generation, but I finally got there in the end. With the new, back then the new crew, and then I got into the Enterprise series and also Strange New Worlds.
Hmm.
Um, that's because it's the Enterprise. That's the heart and soul of the series is the Enterprise. So I, I struggled, as I say, I struggled with DS9 and Voyager. Um, but this episode from '96, it is, Susan, from '96, that um, Trials and Tribulations. I can take this one because, as you've already said, the several of the crew from Deep Space Nine travel back in time and found themselves on the Enterprise, Kirk's Enterprise. Um, for 1996, it's great how they did those effects, how they got the modern day actors back then into the scenes from the 1960s. Um, I don't know if they could have done it with another episode. I think they might. I mean, there's so many episodes they could have chosen from the three series of the original Star Trek. But I think they may have gone for the most easiest one where they could just fit them in the bar, in the corridors, on the bridge. There was not much else going on. I mean, they could have gone, they could have gone Space Seed, or they could have gone, a mock time, something like that. But no, they had to go with the Tribbles, um, which is a fan favorite for some people. Um,
Yeah.
and to have one of the actors from that episode appear as the older version himself, as
Yes.
the
Exactly.
disguised disguised Klingon, was a good little touch. As you say, a lot. It is an Easter egg to the fans. Um, so you've got Sisko and the gang uh, eyeing Scotty up, Chekhov, McCoy, Spock. and Kirk. They're all there. Clips from the '60s episode. It's it's amazing how they did it back then, because you can't, as they say, you can't see the join. um, and watching it, I wished it was a two-parter.
Hmm.
I mean, it was over too quick.
Hmm.
But I think it's the story didn't warrant a two-parter. If they'd have gone with another episode,
Hmm.
it could have carried on for a two-part. You see what I mean? It was a special event, this, so maybe they could have made it into a two-parter if they'd have gone down a different storyline with a different
Mhm.
episode. But as I say, with the Tribbles, I mean, what can you do with a Tribble? Little fair ball. Um, yeah, I like the way they added the DS9's storyline into the original concepts of the Tribbles. Um, it was a fun little romp, wasn't it? Really.
Mhm.
You didn't have to think hard about this one. It was just a nice little fun story. So I enjoyed it because, I say, it's the Enterprise. Star Trek for me is the Enterprise. So back to you, Susan.
Oh, Lee, I totally agree. That's a cool as hell ship, and though I couldn't tell the join either. And the other thing that was really cool about this was the way that they touched on subjects that have like baffled the the fandom for years, like why Klingons looked the way they did back then.
We didn't
Like
explain it though, did we?
they were like Worf. They were like, "There's no Klingons here," and Worf is like, "Those ones are Klingons, and those ones are Klingons," and they look at him, and then they look over there, and then they look at him, and they look over there, and they say, "What happened to these ones?" And they were
Mm.
like, kind of ruminating on genetic engineering, on some sort of major catastrophe that really flattened foreheads or something like that, like something that went on. And Worf didn't want to explain. Worf was like, "Oh, we don't talk about that with
It-
outsiders."
it's just exactly that's exactly like a doctor. I'll explain later.
Uh-huh, exactly like that. It's precisely right. And I was like, "Oh my gosh." And that had been like one of those questions, and you knew that eventually it would come up, and it did. And Worf didn't want to explain, and so that was great. And the other another part that was really sort of intensely directed at a certain element of the fandom was Dax saying his eyes, he just has the most amazing eyes. And everybody thought she was talking about Kirk. And she's like, "No, no, not Kirk, Mr. Spock." And I was like, "Yeah, I agree. That's right. That's right, Dax. Good, good, good choice." And what's funny is that like Terry Terry ended up marrying Adam Nimoy. So of course she liked his eyes. So what was part of it became a real thing, and that's the fun thing about Deep Space Nine, is that these realities that er, Erwin Bear, he really was able to pinpoint things in the fandom, in the mindset of people. He was able to sort of create in his in Deep Space Nine sort of moments that would come from the fandom and really explain things. And part of that had to do with the time travel that comes up later on and is now part of Discovery's timeline. It's part of Strange New Worlds' timeline. It's part of the original series timeline. And it got sort of mixed in with Deep Space Nine. And as a fan of one of the best time travel shows of all time, Doctor Who, I have to say that the in this they really went the distance with it. They tried a lot of interesting things, and in this one they kind of hit a home run. I mean, it was just they hit their century. If you're a cricketer, they it was just absolutely amazing. And the humility of Sisko to say, "Oh, no, you can be a commander. I'm only going to be a lieutenant. I'm only going to be like the lowest of the officer class because I don't want anybody to pay any attention to me. I don't want anything to affect the future. I want to make this little of a footprint as possible." And that was Sisko. Sisko being the prophetic leader of the Bajoran peoples, and the space, the wormhole aliens, that his position had so much power that, I mean, he is a captain of Deep Space Nine, and then his power in that, you just kind of want him to recognize that there are other folks with a lot of power, and that's what he does. And this is one of those episodes where you get to see Avery Brooks trying to prove that Sisko is a man of great great humility and great depth, and that's fun, because he could have lorded it over him. He could have been like, "No, I'm going in as a Starfleet captain. I'm going to do, and I'm going to try and assert some sort of dominance and stuff." But no, he just didn't. He just didn't. He was like the Paraiths, or that's what they are. Anyway, the prophets said that this is the way it's supposed to look, and this is the way my life is supposed to look. But I'm going to be humble at this point, and that humility was great. And so, yeah. And then the other thing that was really cool about this particular episode was the Tribbles and the discussion of how the Klingons killed the whole Tribble planet. I mean, they fucking wiped out the whole Tribble planet. Like, they didn't like them, and they didn't like them a lot, and they called them the vermin of the universe, and they wiped them out. And so this quadriticale that they were shipping was like the only way that these Tribbles would ever come back into reality, is that one would break into a million of them. And that was the other thing, was like, they were like, "How many could this make?" And they're like, "One every 2 hours, with an explosive rate of one making 10. This will be a million, or 2 point something million." And that's excellent exponential math. I was like, yeah, that's right. And that I was learning about this math when I was studying this, or when I watched this. in school I was learning about this, so that was fun.
Yeah.
And anyway, what are your favorite moments, Lee?
Oh, let's think. I did enjoy a little nod to the original series with Worf in his disguise wearing a hat. Because when Spock always used to visit or go back in time, he always had to wear a hat to hide his ears. So Worf had to do that to hide his forehead and his eyebrows. Um, so that was a little nod, and I did like the I can't remember his character's name now, but Siddig's character, the Doctor,
Yeah, Dr. Bashir.
Bashir. When he sort of had a panic attack and thought that nurse was his great great grandmother, and
Mhm.
he might have to go and do things to make him become who he is. Uh,
Like a
yeah,
Heinlein kind of having sex with your grandparents to
yeah,
create, or great grandparents to create yourself.
yeah. Colin Meaney's just looking at him like he's an idiot. But for me, I think my favourite part is the the bar fight and how
Oh,
they got all that together, how they put
oh
it
my gosh,
together.
that was.
I mean, okay, it was old footage. It was double stand-ins, so you did and gel it all together, but it works so well.
Oh, just crying. It's so funny.
Yeah, but yeah, there was some great bits in this. It was just nostalgic for me.
The
What about you,
after
Sue?
fight, the after fight lineup. What'd you think of that? That was hilarious.
Well, he they changed history there, didn't they?
Yeah.
Because Kirk originally didn't ask him, but he did this time. Uh, but yeah, it's amazing how they did it. All this editing in, it was amazing. For a TV show back in 1996 as well.
Mhm,
You know,
mhm,
good on them.
mhm.
Yeah, what stands out for you then, Susan?
Oh gosh, I love that lineup. I thought that was like that was so great because you were going down the line and there was Brashear and and um the engineer
O'Brien.
and O'Brien and Dax is in that there's all the people and then there's Chekhov and
O'Brien.
Scotty, yeah, and you're just like, this is epic, and you know when you see it all sort of tied together like that, it was just that was so cool. Oh my gosh, that was so cool.
Also,
And
also,
then
also as well, Dax sort of hinted that she had some liaison with McCoy. Because did you
oh
say something about his healing hands?
That's right. Oh my gosh, you remember that? That's right. That was also in there. And Dax on the bridge presenting to the cap. Dax was everywhere in that episode. That this was a Dax powerful episode, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, that was great. Oh my gosh, the bar fight. The only thing they didn't do was bring back the music for that bar fight.
Yeah.
They used the Deep Space Nine uh, war music. They have the Dominion War that their fight in the bar becomes the Dominion War music.
Ah, right.
So that was different. They didn't use like the TOS fight scene music, which almost always at some points where it was the one from Amok Time as you were referring to earlier. Yeah, that was so great. And um yeah, like and seeing the guy who is selling the Tribbles, I just like that actor was just like I just loved his I loved that episode. And this mix up mashup episode was just so fun. and and yeah, so those are the moments that stood out to me.
I've just thought of another moment as well where they used the original film from the 60s and inserted DS9's what was happening where they was in the storage unit
Oh
trying to
yeah.
find the bomb. So Cisco's throwing the tribbles out of the hatch, and they're landing on Kirk's head, which they did do in the original episode. They were landing on his head, wasn't they? But now they've put it. He's throwing them, trying to find the bomb. So I think this
Oh
is
my
why
gosh.
I think this is why they went for this episode because it was a lot easier to fit something into this episode.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they could have done it with like Spock's brain or whatever I've said
Oh,
before.
yeah.
You know,
So yeah, and so like if you're wondering why I chose it, it's because time travel, Deep Space Nine, original series. It's got a lot of like interactions and a lot of really uncomfortable moments and things that harken the future of Deep Space Nine and things that harken to the past. Like a lot, like the whole thing is harkening to the past. And then the fact that one guy who was a Klingon spy, both both in the past and in this one, and Worf saying we don't talk about why they look like that, and the fandom, like that that little mix up of that line caused so much fan fiction to come out. Like everybody was writing like what the hell happened to these guys, like what happened to the Klingons, why did they go from like the Discovery Klingon War where they're super dense, huge ridges, no hair, to these big bushy haired guys with nothing, and then into like what happened to their ridges during that time, and then like 50 years later they have again full forehead ridges and everything. And I mean there was like
well, that change happened during Kirk's era as well.
yeah.
Because if you know in the motion
Oh,
picture, like that.
Worf, the other Worf,
Yeah.
defending him, right.
Yeah. His great grandfather or something. Yeah.
Yeah, right, right. Good memory. Yes, good one. Good
So,
reference.
yeah. So that happened back in the Kirk era.
During the during that time frame.
Yeah.
I mean, what? Yeah. So the Klingons and this was really a story about like what the hell happened to the Klingons, but nobody wants to talk about it. But what the hell happened to them? I mean, and it's like one of those things that you're like you're if you're trauma informed, you ask not what's the matter with you, but what happened to you, and that's what we want to know is what happened to these Klingons. Like, why are they so different? And I think
Wow.
it was radiation. I think that there must have been something. I don't know, but that's just me.
Something in the water.
Something in the water, maybe. Yeah, maybe a brain worm. you know, it's happened here in this state. I mean, one of our Kennedys got one, so I don't know.
Nice.
Who knows? Anyway, anything else about
No, I think I've said as
trials
much
and
as I can remember
tribulations?
about it.
Do you like the way that the Federation has time travel cops sort of thing? Is that kind of
Oh yeah, what were they called? Tam. What were they? I can't remember what they're called now.
yeah?
Yeah. Um. Yeah. When you come to think of it, most science fiction TV series has something. Time cops, time agents.
Mhm.
So Star Trek is nothing
No
different there,
different,
isn't it?
right?
So yeah, I could
Right.
go with that one.
That's what. Anything else? Is there anything else?
No, no. No, it was just great to see the Enterprise when it appeared on the screen on
Oh,
the view of
super
Deep Space
fun.
Nine, and think, wow, yeah, classic.
Yeah,
Um,
that was cool. That was
yeah,
so fun.
it was.
Okay. What's your final say and score then?
Oh, it was amazing how they did it. It's an enjoyable 45 minutes. It just wanted me wanting more of the story, or you know, with this mashup, but it wasn't to be. Um, I'm, I'm going to give it. I'm going to give it 10 tribbles out of 10, of course.
Mhm.
Enjoyable, and they say it was just it was for the fans, wasn't it?
It really was, yeah. And I'll agree with Lee 100%. 10 Klingon forehead, flat Klingon foreheads out of 10. Um, I think that's why uh, I think that there's just a lot in this episode that is everything about the fandom. It's the whole enchilada. Like there's like all the things that that your Star Trek fans, your Trekkies and Trekkers and casual fans really would like is in this. It's it's funny, it's enjoyable, it's got a good fight scene, it's got some great traveling in space, and it's got Klingons being Klingons looking like humans. It's very different. Anyway, it's great. And so I thank you all for watching our video as well as watching Trials and Tribble-ations on Deep Space Nine. It's season 6, episode 7 or 8,
Yeah.
I think. And and we would like to invite you to join us. Where we don't travel in space very much. These in the UK, I'm in the US, and we are welcoming you to join us, but we would like you to be 18 or over because a lot of the time the the stuff we're talking about isn't as fan friendly as this. It's just a little tougher. And we also would like you to have a device, camera, Zoom, and a microphone, and and meet us at the whatever time we decide to. And I thank you, Lee, for being a lot flexible with me today. super
That's okay.
grateful. You're awesome. And please like and subscribe, hit the bell notification, ding ding. I know you probably can't hear me because
Susan,
what?
that was so clear. Yeah, and again. So why?
Well, anyway, that's surprising.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so hit the bell notification and you'll know that we're putting out videos a couple times a week, and we'd love to have you watch our premieres and enjoy them. And also, we'd like to we'd like you to yeah, watch Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek the original series. You know, if you're very much like Lee, then watch everything with an Enterprise in it. That's the way, I guess that's the way it's supposed to be watched. Anyway, thanks. And to everyone, live long and prosper.
I can't
And
do that.
I know, don't worry about it. You can do the Klingon kapla. Come on, do it.
No,
Fist
no,
up.
no,
Come on, Lee.
no.
Oh, all right, never mind.
God, we're gonna argue.